Even if you were born after full gestation period, still one part of the body was unformed. Do you know which one? Top of the head. This was still unformed because that is the entry point for the life process into the physical mass of flesh that your parents offered for the life. You don't create life, you only create a receptacle for life. You create a bowl, you create a chalice, but life has to enter. So, that point was unformed because that is the entry point and there are various aspects to that, we will not go into it now. So this is the kalpa, this is where life began. Life entered the physical body, so that is the kalpanath. And beyond that is the Muktinath. In the human body, there are 114 chakras, 112 are in the physical realm, the two are above. So the 113th one is referred to as the Muktinath because that is the point of liberation, and 114th one is called as Kailsh, that is the abode of Shiva himself. It is important to come to Pashupatinath before we go to Kailsh. We will bypass Muktinath because we don't want you to leave. You're just a tourist. You want to see all this and go back to life, isn't it? You're not planning to exit through this, so we will skip Muktinath. Muktinath became a big attraction because the whole culture, the whole civilization was geared towards mukti or ultimate liberation. People went for it. They went for it in gross ways. After some time, it became a coveted place. So everybody wanted to conquer that place. King after king, they thought if they conquer that space, they will attain to liberation. They went for it. So this temple was demolished 100 times over and rebuilt 100 times by different people at different periods, and they even changed the deity many times. All kinds of deities came up. Presently, there is a Vishnu's deity there. And to make it attractive, they made it a deity. It's a golden deity, almost the size of a full-grown man. And then as if that was not necessary, after the Buddhists came and their culture also was oriented towards their nirvana or mukti, they also went for Muktinath. And they set up their stupas and said, this is important for us. Everybody wanted to conquer Muktinath rather than striving for mukti.
Located in the Muktinath valley at an altitude of 12,100 feet, Muktinath temple is the home of one of the 51 Shaktipitas and is said to be the Sati Devi's right cheek. For Tibetan Buddhist, Muktinath is one of the 24 tantric places, a very important place of Dakinis who are goddesses known as sky dancers. They see the Murti as a manifestation of Avalokiteshvara. Muktinath is also important to the Vaishnavites who consider it one of the Divya Desams. It is believed that one should visit this temple after completing the Char Dham Yatra. The ancient Kali Gandaki river, which is mentioned in the Mahabharata and Shiv Purana, is left bank tributary of the river Ganga. The water from Gandaki river continuously flows through the mouth of 108 bull-shaped water spouts called Muktidhara. Devotees take a bath under this chilled water as it is said to grant them salvation.
When you visit Pashupatinath, I want you to understand this is a place that's been not just revered, been experienced and used by people as a stepping stone for their ultimate nature, towards their ultimate nature for thousands and thousands of years. We do not know how many thousands of years, but the Linga is pre-Vedic in its antiquity. So at least minimum 8,000 years. It's much more than that. So the story and the legend behind this is like this. The Pandavas, you heard of those five? These five brothers For those of you who do not come from the Indian background, the ancient war of Kurukshetra happened because the fight happened between these 5 brothers and 100 cousin brothers on the other side. They fought, and it is at this battlefield that Krishna gave the teaching which became the Gita. These Pandavas won the battle. So if you have to win the battle, of course, you have to slaughter so many people, which they did. And the slaughter did not include some strange enemies, it included their own brothers, their close friends, their relatives, their grandfather, their guru. Everybody who mattered to them in their life, they slaughtered because they had to win the war. And now they were struggling with what is called as Gotravada. Gotravada means they killed their own clan. Their hands were smeared with the blood of their guru, their grandfather, their brothers, their uncles, all kinds, even children. So they wanted to be free of this karma, and they knew nobody else could do it for them. Shiva is the only one who can absolve them of this sin. After their tenure as kings was over and they were old and they handed over the kingdom to their children, and there was no fulfillment. So these 5 guys went after Shiva, they want a quick fix. And Shiva didn't want to give them such a easy run. He wanted them to soak in their soup for some time, so that they don't commit such acts again. If people realize you can do whatever you want and you can go to Shiva and become free and you can restart all over again, Shiva did not want to give in to them, so he knew Himalayan terrain so well, so he went on dodging them, dodging them, dodging them. But these are doubted people, these are not the giving up kind brothers. Otherwise they would have given up long ago, you know. They went after him, went after him, went after him. So Shiva had enough of this hide-and-seek business, so he thought he will get into disguise. So he transformed himself into the form of a bull. So he thought they will miss him. But these guys espied that also. And they went after the bull. So the bull ran here, there, but they ran after that. So Shiva, not knowing what to do with these guys, he ran into the ground. When he ran into the ground, the Pandavas, the story goes about to say, that they caught the tail of the bull. Bhima went and caught the tail first, and all the others caught. And even today, if you do not know this, if a bull or an ox refuses to get up, traditionally, the farmers and the cart drivers know this, that if they hold the tail and just do this, the bull will stand up. So the Pandavas, Bhima particularly, did that to the bull. And the bull rose, Shiva had to rise up. When he rose up, his forehead came up in Pashupatinath, his hump came up in Kedar, his horns came up in Tunganath, and his navel came up in Madhya Maheshwar. That's the story. Why such a story is to emotionally link people to the process. It is a scientific process. But unless people are emotionally connected to something, they cannot keep their mind focused upon that. That's true with you even today, isn't it? There are very few human beings who can keep their mind focused upon something which does not emotionally mean anything to them. There are very few human beings with that kind of mental capability. All others need to become passionate about it, otherwise they can't keep their mind on anything for 2 minutes. So the story is mainly to get you emotionally charged. Oh, it's Shiva who went in and these guys torturing him, so he came up. So there's a strong feeling about it. Once there's a strong feeling, wanting to go there, wanting to be there in a certain way, wanting to make use of it is naturally there in a human being. So this is a complete understanding of a human being, how a human being functions, and accordingly a process. Pashupatinath, the Linga there, has 4 faces. It's facing the one face that you will see from the front side is the east face. This is called as Tat Purusha, that means the highest kind of being. The western face is called Sadyojatha. The northern face is called as Vamadeva. The southern face is called Aghora. So one is the highest kind of being, another is a giver of joy, another is a master of occult sciences, another is Aghori. That means he is beyond the terrible, that the terrible does not touch him. There is nothing that is repulsive for him. He is an all-embracing kind, not in compassion, as you would like to think. Because I want you to understand that spiritual process in this part of the world never taught you about being loving, being compassionate, being kind. This kind of stuff, they did not even consider it as spiritual. So they thought it was not necessary to teach such things. So Aghori is in an embrace with the existence, not in any kind of emotion, simply because he wants to be like life. Because life is naturally all-embracing. He treats food and his excrement the same way. He treats the dead and the alive the same way. He treats a well-preserved body and a rotting body the same way. Not because he's in love, simply because he wants to become absolute life. He does not want to be trapped in his own psychological process. So that's the southern face. The South Indians, I'm looking at you, right? Shiva looked south with that kind of face, an all-embracing face, not in love, not in compassion, just life. And that quality seeped in to every aspect of south. When I say south, anything south of Himalayas is south, not Chennai alone, okay?
The Pashupatinath temple is located on the western bank of the Bagmati river. The temple is listed in UNESCO World Heritage Sites list. The temple complex has a certain arrangement of shrines and statues. In the southern side, there is a labyrinth of 64 lingas. The different deities face different directions. Bhairav faces south, Ganesh faces east, Narayan west, and the Navdurgas north. Apart from the four faces of the Pashupatinath Linga, there is a fifth unseen face of the Linga called Ishana, representing the element ether or Akash. The priests who perform the daily rituals in the temple are Brahmins from the Karnataka and Kerala regions in the South India. During the Mahashivratri festival, thousands of people arrive by night, take a dip in the cold waters of the Bagmati river and have darshan of Pashupatinath. On the opposite bank of the river are several shrines and courtyards, which offer accommodation to pilgrims during the major festivals. The Bagmati originates at the Bhagdwar, above the southern edge of the Shivpuri hills, about 15 kilometers northeast of Kathmandu. The river flows through many places in Nepal, including Swambhunath Stupa, Kathmandu Darbar Square, and the Dakshin Kali Temple. Bagmati River is known for its cremation spots, including the Ara Ghat, the most widely used cremation spot in Nepal. The Nepali Hindu tradition says that the dead body must be dipped into Bagmati River 3 times before cremation.
When I say a body, a spiritual body, to give you a better perception of that, how can a nation be a body? To give you a better understanding. For example, Dhyana Linga is a spiritual body with all the 7 chakras active and alive. We could easily create a larger body than this, but it will be more difficult to maintain. Right now, we are planning to attempt something like this in the United States, Tennessee ashram. We're thinking of establishing 7 sthanas across the land to convert that land into a spiritual body so that when people enter that space, they can feel it and experience it and use it as a stepping stone for their well-being, that they are not just trying mentally, it is a live process. So we are thinking of converting that land itself into a spiritual body. There are very fantastic Devi temples. There are also female bodies. The Devi body, also created in many ways. It was not as systematic as this whole process. This whole process of creating this body, where it is neither male nor female. That's why we are saying Shiva, because Shiva is neither masculine nor feminine. You know the famous depiction, he is Ardhanari. One half of him is feminine, another half of him is masculine. So Pashupatinath is very, very significant. In many ways, it is a huge stepping stone in this system. There are still certain… what to call them, certain traditions which are actively making use of this process. One tradition which is making use of this very actively, and you can still see them if you go to Pashupatinath, is the Nati community. Have you heard of Natis, Gorakhnathis? People who come from North India must have heard of Gorakhnathis. It's fallen on bad times and taken on all kinds of meanings, but these Gorakhnathis are the tradition that came out of Gorakhnath, the disciple of Matsyendranath. Matsyendranath is seen as the reincarnation of Shiva himself, and Gorakhnath created the tradition and he established one of the largest yogic cults in this part of the world at that time, and it still lives, probably having the largest number of mendicants and sadhus compared to any other system. So that system still makes use of this southern body, and they travel up and they have ashrams all along this 5 chakras established, which is the Shiva's body in the form of a bull. They still follow that. And you will see them, a few of them in the Pashupatinath temple. If you see anybody with a large ring on his left ear, a large ring, usually a bone ring, that means he's a Gorakhnathi, he belongs to the Nati community or the Nati system. They have an ashram. If you climb up further, there is a ashram of the Natis where there are at least 100, 200, 108, more than that, I think. Whatever. There are a large number of samadhis of Natis who attained. Only those who attained got proper stone samadhis, others were buried under the trees. So you will see a large number of that, showing the richness of that system that so many people attained. So many people attained through their system, so there are so many samadhis which you can visit, which is in a dilapidated condition today but still there for one to visit.